Hello everybody and welcome to the debut of the Hersey Girls Hoops podcast. My name is Skrudland and today my co-host Megan Kleve and I sat down with the head coach of the girls basketball team, Mary Fendley, and senior Mary McGrath to talk about their season thus far, the challenges COVID has brought, and Mary's recent commitment to Lindenwood University.
Hello everybody and welcome to the very first episode of Overtime's Hersey Girls Hoops podcast. My name is Skrudland and join alongside me, my co-host Megan Kleve. Today we are joined by head coach Mary Fendley and senior Mary McGrath. Thank you both for joining us, and how are you?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, of course. So after a couple of months off, you guys are finally back in action. So Mary, what was it like for you to hit the court again? And then coach, what was it like for you being able to coach this talented group of girls?
Yeah. It was honestly just amazing. Obviously, that's one of the best feelings ever after not being with that group of people, especially since we're all so close. We're all really good friends. So especially just with that group of people specifically, it was just really great and it felt amazing.
Yeah, I guess it was such almost a relief for so long, just wondering if we were going to get to play or not, knowing what a special team we had, both, talent, obviously, and chemistry, and, having all the right pieces, and the scary idea of that not being able to try to put that together. And so we feel pretty lucky and grateful that we're able to play right now.
Yeah, so far you guys have played 4 games, and we were just hoping to talk a little more in depth about that. So going into your games, what was the mentality?
Yeah, I would say definitely, especially after rankings came out and all that, I think everyone was pretty happy the way we were ranked, but I think actions speak louder than words. So we kind of just wanted to go in and show everyone that, yeah, you ranked us right. We are a good team. We can do this, and we just have to take care of business, kind of. So.
Yeah, and then coach, what goes on in the pregame locker room chats? What do you say to keep the team in a positive direction?
Well, what's really kind of cool about this team is they're really self-motivated. We luckily don't have to be cheerleaders. We know how happy they are to be playing and know that they want to perform. And so once we were, given these high rankings and, it's kind of this people acknowledging yeah, we really have a lot of talent. We really have experience. We really have athleticism, and we have all these pieces. And so then getting the chance to prove it and trying to live up to these rankings, it's been fun. And so I don't have to, I remind them that if we do what you know how to do and what you've done for so long, that we're going to be fine. But we never overestimate anyone, because sometimes there's so many factors in basketball, right? The most skilled team doesn't always win. You have to put all the pieces together, and these guys, there's no pushback on that, because I think we all kind of have the same thing, same goals.
You guys both mentioned the rankings, and so congratulations for being the top ranked team in Class 4A. Does that change your game or mindset at all?
No, I don't think it does at all. I think either way, whether we were ranked first or ranked 50th, I think we still wanted to go into the season. We wanted to go in just winning every game, playing as hard as we can every game. So, yeah.
Either way, I guess we feel like we had something to prove. Since we got the 1 ranking, then we want to prove that that is correct. And if we were ranked 50th, then we would have tried to prove that we're actually better than that. And so either way, we're pretty self-motivated with the shortened season and knowing we can't really prove anything in a state tournament, but we can just do the best with the games that we're given.
Yeah. So Coach Fendley, who are some big leaders that have helped contribute to the early success?
Well, I think anytime you have 4 returning starters, which we do, which Mary, obviously, Mary Kate Fahey is actually, this is her 4th year as a starter. Katie Idoltz, her second year as a starter, along with Natalia Kovsik, second year as a starter. So just that foundation of like, sometimes you kind of spend those first few weeks and maybe the first month even of like phase one offenses, like the basics, we can only learn so many things. And like, we like kind of started, like everybody knew them. And these guys were like amazing mentors talking through the new kids that, getting them to be able to, not just, really be a part of the offense and a part of the defense. Whatever we call out, we're ahead of schedule. And I think it's such a big benefit to have the returners in a year like this, because we just didn't know until like all of a sudden we were fully in season from nothing. So like just to have that foundation, I think has been super important and helps us a lot.
Continuing on the topic of leadership, Mary, you guys lost Jesse and Jordan Carlquist and then Claire Stolfus last season. So how have you and the rest of the team filled those leadership roles?
Yeah, I think each of those seniors who we lost last year kind of had a different role on the team, obviously. But I think this year we have 8 seniors, and I think all of us collectively many of us have filled many different parts of those roles. And whether it be just getting hype on the bench or anything like that, or just picking someone up when they're maybe not feeling so great about themselves. I think that everyone has really stepped up to those roles. And yeah, I think collectively as a senior group, I think we just make the vibe of the team overall, I guess. I think we mesh really well together. And I think that makes a big difference on and off the court. So
what do you do specifically to help the team in terms of leadership?
Yeah. Even just today specifically, like whether it be helping people who are new to the team, like with plays and stuff, just kind of, this is kind of funny, but I made like little tutorial videos on like notability, and I like screen recorded it and sent them to some of the people who are new to the team so they could watch them before the games and stuff, just so when they did get out there, they kind of knew all the spots on where to go and things like that. So.
And Mary is so modest that I didn't even know she did that, and that's unbelievable. This senior group, like they do things like this, and it shows on our team, but they're not out like campaigning for credit for things. And so that's like a credit to Mary and her classmates who have really turned this into like such a well-functioning team.
Yeah, I just think leadership plays a big part in the game too, both on the court and off the court.
Yeah.
So, Coach, between the games, you've gone back and forth between a zone defense and a man-to-man defense. So, like, how do you decide what defense to run?
We typically have a pretty good speed advantage on everybody. I don't know if there's going to be a team quicker than us and more athletic than us. So we are 90% of the time we'll play a man-to-man defense. We have some trapping zone defenses that we like to throw in spots. But yeah, I would call us a man-to-man team, and I think that's effective. And we don't have to, not that we would have to hide it in a zone, but sometimes you play a zone if you're way shorter or you're way slower, and we don't have those problems. And so we really can get out and be aggressive in our man or trapping zone or trapping man defense.
Yeah, for sure. And Mary, like with the limited practices, obviously the shortened season, like how do you feel you and the team are, staying in shape and preparing for the game?
Yeah. Even before we got the word on whether or not we're going to have a season, I think a lot of us were doing stuff outside, obviously with masks and everything, properly social distance and stuff like on the sidelines. But I think a lot of us were doing scrimmages outside of basketball, just training, trying our best to stay in shape, whether it be like getting outside or even simple things like that. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, totally get that. And then Coach Fenn, like, with the whole masks and everything, has your coaching style changed due to COVID?
No, I mean, I think, as you know, Megan, I whistle a lot to get attention, and it's significantly harder to whistle, and it comes out muffled and it doesn't sound, but in general, I remember saying months ago, we just want to play. So if it means wearing masks, we're going to wear masks. And I'm appreciative of the girls for not complaining about it. I know it's not ideal. Oh my gosh, what a small price to pay, right? So
Yeah.
no, I don't think anything has changed. I mean, I think we do a lot more talking in practices than we do screaming, yelling in the games anyway, in that. So I don't feel like I necessarily lose a lot. And we have signals for all of our plays, which we've kind of always done that. But this year, it's really important to be able to do that because you just can't yell it out as effectively. So us having signals for our offenses and defenses actually really helps a lot.
Along with the whole mask wearing, live streaming is also a new thing for this season. So for both of you, has that changed anything, like the way you coach, the way you play at all?
Wait, what?
I don't think it's. Sorry.
What did
The
you?
live streaming. Like, is that
I don't think it's changed the way I play necessarily. Obviously, it's a lot quieter in the gym, which, I mean, when you're playing, I feel like you kind of drown out the noise half the time anyways, so I feel like it doesn't make that big of a difference. But our parents still get to come, which is nice, to home games. And obviously, it would be a little more fun if we could have, like, Orange Crush or fans or anything like that there. But, yeah, I usually don't hear half the things the crowd says anyways, so it doesn't really affect me.
If anything, for me, that's been a blessing. I have brothers that live in England and California and Virginia and Michigan, and just my brothers and my mom who's in Northbrook, just being able to watch us, it's kind of like this bonus. Like Mary said, it takes away not having fans there, but like to know that I have nieces and nephews and brothers and stuff all over the country that are watching us, in England watching us is kind of a cool thing that's come out of it.
Yeah. Plus, it's also like, a bonus because there's probably a lot more scouts who are able to look at the younger girls and stuff too.
Yeah.
With the live streams, Mary, do you ever go back and look at them and like look at your game and see how you can improve more?
Oh yeah, literally right when I get home after every game, I watch the full game tape. And then the next day, sometimes I'll go back, and if it's like tagged, I'll look at like where I got tagged. Maybe I had a turnover or something, or I just messed up on like what happened there. And then sometimes I also go in and watch it with our assistant coach Barthel, and she just kind of walks me through like how we can do things better, or we watch game tape on other teams just to see how they play and stuff like that.
That's really nothing new. I mean, a lot of the things a lot of the behind the scenes things is that how much game tape they watch and learn from. I upload the games to Huddle the second they're over. And so either I tag it or I send it out to get tagged, that just all the stats get done. And then we can really break it down and learn from it. And again, we get opponent videos. And so, yeah, they log a lot of time. It's not just the time in the gym, but learning about our opponents and learning what we could have done better and seeing spots and weaknesses that we can improve on. So like, that's another thing about like this group. They do that, I don't have to say, go watch this game, go watch this quarter. We know they're going to do that.
It seems like COVID hasn't affected the game too much, at least with coaching and playing. So Mary, there was that uncertainty about the season not happening. So what was your state of mind knowing that your senior season could have potentially been canceled?
Yeah, that was not the best week for me when that whole article came out about, girls basketball is canceled like forever. But I think I had a lot of time to it was very back and forth, like, we're doing contact days, but there's no season, but now there's a season, now there's not a season. So it was kind of crazy, but I think the whole time in the back of my head, I didn't know for sure we were going to have a season, but in the back of my head, I guess it was kind of like denial. Like I was like, no, we're going to have a season. Like I can feel it. Like we're going to have a season. Like it's going to be okay. But so then when it did come out, I was finally like, yes, okay, it's happening. So it was obviously a relief, like Fen said, but I kind of knew it was always going to happen, hopefully.
Yeah. You tried not to think about it. Like,
yeah, I didn't
actually get the word that it's not going to happen. And when that article came out, there's a Sun-Times writer who just kind of blatantly said, like, obviously there's not going to be a basketball season. And I'm getting texts like, I'm like, no, he's a reporter. He's like,
yeah.
So, but it was still like, it's hard to put out of your mind when, you know, yeah. So again, that just makes us more grateful because our minds have gone to the like, what if, and then it's like, no, I don't want to think about what if.
Yeah, especially the seniors because it's kind of like your last hurrah.
Yeah, I think
so then,
that's why I didn't like think about it. I was like, no, I need to have a senior year. Like, this is not happening.
yeah. So then, like, with the shortened season, like, how has the team kept in touch? Like, along with the new members, like, how have they been able to connect with the rest of the team?
Yeah. I think at like the very beginning of like quarantine, like May, that kind of era, I guess, we were doing a lot of Zooms kind of with the team from last year also. And then coming into this year, we kind of had an idea of who was going to be on the team kind of from contact days. So we got to get to know like some of those other newcomers from that and just how they play and things like that. And then before the season, we've just kind of been texting a lot in our group chats and stuff, sending updates about whether or not we would have a season. So we kind of kept in touch that way. And then now we see each other every day at practice, which is nice. So.
And we probably didn't do as much as some teams. You know, for me, you know, most of our athletes are multi-sport athletes. And so I'm like, you know what, they're in their spring seasons, which even though that didn't happen, I still kind of felt that was their time. And so we did then start doing a few Zooms once the spring seasons kind of were officially canceled and then they kind of came to a close. But yeah, I think what's special about these guys is they found a way to keep in touch. Even when we couldn't see each other, we couldn't play, we didn't know if we were gonna have a season. And that was like them initiating it, you know? So I'm lucky enough that I didn't have to be like holding them accountable. I know coaches that like made kids watch game tapes from years past and break it down and send a report. And I'm like, I don't want them to feel like basketball is like homework that you have to do. So I appreciate that like these guys took care of the important things, which is staying in touch and taking care of each other and, you know, being supportive of the craziness that was going on, independent of basketball stuff.
Yeah. Do you think that the whole quarantine era has made you guys bond closer? Like you guys are closer together as a team than before COVID?
I think we were still pretty close before and after because especially on last year's team, we were all really close back then too. But we were just like staying in touch in the way that we were sending little messages. Like Bertha was like, okay, you need to do 10 push-ups while you talk about like the best thing that happened during your day. So we were just doing fun things like that. But I think we kind of remained the same. We were pretty close before and we were pretty close after. So yeah.
If anything, it maybe added an appreciation to it, but you know, maybe that's why we were so nervous is because we knew how great this season could be. We knew that there was going to be a great chemistry and a great vibe. We knew we had this talent. And so like getting to play, even though we kind of expected all that stuff, it's like this added appreciation.
We briefly talked about mask wearing. So Mary, has that affected your game at all?
I don't think it's affected my game necessarily. Obviously, sometimes it makes it a little bit harder to like catch your breath, especially after a long run of fast breaks. But they did put in like mask breaks in the middle of each quarter, so it kind of like cuts each quarter in half, kind of. So that's been nice, especially since sometimes you just need to like pull it down a little bit. But yeah.
During the mask breaks, obviously it's a break from the mask. Do you guys like talk about that and use that as like an extra timeout, or is that primarily just to get water?
So what I try to do, it's a 90-second timeout, which is, you know, usually you have a 30-second timeout or a 60-second timeout. Mask breaks are 90 seconds. So I try to give them about 45 seconds to kind of, you know, get their water, drop their masks, and then we'll have it more like a formal timeout. So, but that's taken us a little while because it's so not normal because, you know, you're not like on one bench, right? They're all kind of like spread out in their seats on the bleachers at home. And so, yeah, I think we've adjusted it. Well, I've tried to like, go get your water. Coach Barthel and I kind of talk about what we want to make sure we mention, and then we talk to them before they go back on the court.
Yeah, that's kind of nice too. Just like a little time to regroup and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mary, you recently committed to Lindenwood University, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And did COVID like impact your decision, and what made you decide to go there instead of, any other school?
Yeah. I wouldn't say COVID necessarily impacted my decision, just because by the time I was kind of gathering all the options I had and kind of taking a look at everything, I wasn't really looking to be recruited by any other schools, because I had like my top 5 around that number, I guess, kind of trying to decide between. And the reason why I chose Lindenwood is just because the team chemistry there that I saw was just amazing. And honestly, the coaches were just so easy to talk to. Like, out of all the coaches I talked to, I could talk to them for the longest and the easiest, I would say. And everything just felt really welcoming there for me. And obviously, I loved the campus and I just loved the vibe. It was kind of one of those things where I stepped on campus and I was kind of like, whoa. Like, I was like, I really like it here. It was just that feeling, So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Sorry. Do you get that feeling that you had at Lindenwood at Hersey? Like the whole fondness and stuff? Is that
especially
what kind of
when you walk into the main gym, like even if it's just practice, every time you walk in, you see everyone like lined up getting their shoes on. It's just the best feeling, especially after not playing for so long. I didn't realize how much like the little things, like you appreciate them so much after you haven't been able to do them. Just walking in the gym, seeing everyone, someone's like screaming about something or someone's just like yelling. I don't know. It's just a great vibe in the gym every day. So.
You've been involved with the Hersey basketball program for 4 years. So how has the program and coach Fendley improved you as a player?
Yeah, I would definitely say my first year in varsity, I was a sophomore, and I remember just being so scared before every game, obviously, but because I was just new to the team and I just wasn't sure what I was doing. And both Fen and Barthel just kind of made me feel really comfortable with where I was, and kind of was always like reassuring me, like, you got this, don't worry about it, you can do this, like it's okay.
Mary was her biggest critic. It's pretty rare to go from the freshman team to the varsity team. But then over the summer, she started playing with varsity between her freshman and sophomore year. And I'm like, well, I don't think she's just on varsity. I think how do we not start her? So she ended up starting as a sophomore after being on the freshman team, which is an unbelievable testament to her work ethic and her skill. And so, that was just a lot of hard work, because I don't know if I've ever had that. If I've ever had a kid go from freshman team to starting varsity. I've been at Hersey. I've been head coach 23 years now, and Mary McGrath did that.
What did you see in her skills that made you also move her up to varsity after freshman year?
Well, I saw her skills as like, what, second grade? You started coming to camp probably?
Yeah, I was going to camp like second grade.
And so at camp, I would give away little prizes, like little Dairy Queen prizes when kids win little skills things at the end of each day. Well, the problem was Mary and Mary Kate, they would win like everything. So there came a point where I'm like, at the end of camp, Mary or Mary Kate would win, and I'm like, okay, who finished third? Okay, the fabulous prize goes to another kid. Otherwise, I think Mary and Mary Kate would have gotten all of them. So they were always good. I don't even think like she's always been good. She's always stood out as an excellent player. It was just like sometimes timing wise, like a kid that's good enough to play varsity, you don't bring up to varsity if you can't get them quality minutes. And 3 spots on varsity were filled that year by her sisters. And so I didn't have as much room as I might usually have to bring up a freshman. Her triplet sisters were amazing athletes that went through Hersey also. So yeah, she's been always good, always impressive. And you just knew anybody that's known her since second grade is not surprised that she's headed on scholarship to a university.
What will you miss most about not having her on the team next year?
Oh my God, that's hard to think about. So like every team needs different types of leaders, and Mary is the type of leader that like you can be a leader and be effective, but be like chill. Like I think there's this like way that she can not be like the do this, you got to do this, you got to do this, but just like lead by example, which he always does, and be cognizant of like kids needing help, or back in the old days, a hug. We're still allowed to hug, and so like Mary has this like quiet leadership that's chill to make everybody feel comfortable with her, and that's like it's rare. It's rare. She's a 2-year captain, and it's hard to get voted as a captain when you're just a junior, but she has that leadership ability. So
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
good.
So
Yep.
what are you guys both looking forward to most this season? Like, what's going to be like the highlight for you guys?
I would say, hopefully, crossing my fingers, not trying to jinx anything, but hopefully if or when we get to the conference championship, just honestly, that's one of our main goals, to win a conference championship, especially assuming we play Fremd in that. We lost to them last year in the conference championship, so that obviously stung a little, and that's been in the back of my mind since that day. I think it was February 12th, 2020. I remember the date. So we want to get there first, and then obviously win that, since that's been one of our biggest goals this season.
They beat us by 1 on a buzzer beater, and then they went on to win the state championship.
Yeah, that stung.
Yeah.
If you guys do end up winning that game, will it be sweeter because of the whole COVID situation, or do you think you'll still feel the same as if you guys won last year?
It'll be crushing just because that's the end of our season this year. But it'll be like, that's our goal. Like, we can't set a goal to get downstate or win state. So
Yeah.
I think it'll be bittersweet, win or lose. It's going to be bitter. It's going to be bittersweet because, we're grateful to play, but it wasn't what we envisioned.
Yeah. I don't know if that's ever happened before, where you go into a playoff game, I guess, knowing that you could win, but it's also going to be your last game either way. So it's going to be kind of a weird dynamic if we do win. Like, it's going to be amazing, but then it's going to be like, wait, that was the last time playing on the Hersey court and things like that.
Before we end this, we want to get into some more rapid fire and like more fun questions. So what's your favorite movie or TV show, and why?
Ooh. I don't know. I don't have one specific favorite movie, but I've been binging all the Marvel movies on Disney Plus currently. So definitely one of those, probably.
Such a good question. My son watched all the Marvel. We got Disney Plus.
I watched all of them like
It's true. He's watched them all. All right, Cole. That's good. Yeah, I've just started binge watching Netflix stuff too. I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Who is your guys' favorite professional sports team or athlete, and why?
I have to think about that.
I would say athlete Michael Jordan was so amazing to watch, and I would just loved being able to follow the Cubs and I got to go to a bunch of those games, even playoff games in 2016. So that was pretty great.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Fen about Michael Jordan, especially after The Last Dance came out. Then I was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't know all this stuff. But then also probably Maya Moore. She played for UConn, and she also played for the Lynx, the Minnesota Lynx. I don't know what team she's on now. I think she's still in Minnesota, but I could be wrong. But yeah.
Who do you guys think is the silliest player on the Hersey team?
Sticks. That was so easy. Sticks or
Sister, who else did you say?
Jackie.
Yeah, Jackie or Sticks. Sticks is Megan Morris.
Yeah.
We definitely call her Sticks.
March Madness is quickly approaching. So what teams are you guys looking forward to watching, whether it's men's or women's college?
100% Illini. Io, Kofi, and the guys. So fun to watch.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Fen on that one.
Yeah. One more final question before we do close up. What is your current favorite song?
That's a hard one. I don't know. I have to like get on my Spotify or something, but I don't know. Oh, I know Taylor Swift is coming out with like all those new songs. She's like re-recording all her old songs, and she just came out with, I mean, it's the same song, but she's like re-singing it. So I've been waiting for that and excited for that.
I'm sure whatever I would say is nerdy. Cole, what's your favorite song? He doesn't know. He doesn't know his favorite song. I don't know. I love like I love like 90s Pearl Jam, stuff like that.
Do you guys
Gotcha.
listen to Taylor Swift before you guys play at all? Like, what type of music do you guys?
Oh, we mostly listen to like, I mean, Six and Jackie, and they usually handle the music, and Natalia, because she has that huge speaker. But they usually pick the music, but it's usually really good hype up music because we trust them completely. They're really good at finding that kind of stuff. So.
They're team DJs.
Oh, and the Miley Cyrus song "See You Again." We play that every time we pull up to an away game.
Oh my gosh! And like literally the bus like
The bus
bounces. We get some crazy looks as we pull up to schools in a bouncing bus.
All right, that'll wrap us up for today's episode. Thank you for joining us for the debut of the Hersey Girls Hoops podcast. Good luck to the girls team on the rest of their season, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.